group for 17 years and headed it for more than 10 years. Mr. Maheshwer believes that the demographic dividend India seeks can turn into a nightmare if youth are not shown the right direction to maximize their capabilities. Careers 360 is the result of this deep understanding of student issues and the information gaps that need to be filled to help students take an informed career decision. So I think Sir is at the right platform. He's here to enlighten you all with the important career path that is required for all of us. Yes, once again, let us put our hands together to welcome Sir. And I hope this will be a beautiful session and it will be enjoyed for you all. So, as our principal sir always says, don't make it a one-way communication. I want all of you to interact well throughout the session and take all the knowledge that you can. Yes? Thank you, sir. The stage is all yours now. Thanks for being here.
హలో ఎంతమంది ఇక్కడ బోరింగ్ గా వచ్చి ఎందుకు కావాలరా అని వచ్చేసి చెప్పండి నిజంగా. How many of you came because you were forced to come here? Okay, let us make an honorable agreement here, right? You will tell me the truth, I'll tell you the truth. Is it okay? Right. Now tell me the truth. How many people are really feeling bored of sitting here? 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200. బ్యాక్ రో సైడ్ చేయలేపారు అంటే దే ఆర్ యాక్చువల్లీ టెలింగ్ ద ట్రూత్ కదా. మీరంతా అబద్ధాలు ఆడతారు కదా, ఫ్రంట్ రోస్ అబద్ధాలు ఆడతారు కదా, అది అబద్ధం. రైట్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓకే టు టెల్ ద ట్రూత్, రైట్? I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Most of the times now, when we start off our journey, we are always told to behave in a certain way, project yourself in a certain way, which is not your true self. Most of the times we do that, right? I'll give you philosophy of how you must lead life. Do I lead that life exactly the same way? I don't think so. Right? So that's a life that you're leading in falsity. You know, but there is one underlying truth in this entire thing, right? And the underlying truth is that at this point in time, you are possibly the 2 or 3 or 5% lucky people who are actually getting education. To understand India in totality, the fact is that you're still the more privileged lot which is coming and you're doing your undergraduate. If you go through the journey of a student, India, as of now, if you sit now, there are 360 million students in different schools, classes, colleges, PG, right? Every year, about 14 million students pass out of class 12 and get on to graduation. 14 million people. Of that, just about 1 million people pursue what they want to do, which is what to do. At JEE, if you take the number of students who applied for JEE, it's less than 1 million, 950,000, who applied for the examination, right? So to that extent, from 14 million to 9.5 lakh, what's the percentage? 7-8%. That is what you are. You are the more privileged lot. Having said that, I'm not for one moment saying that you're the lucky people at all. Many of you will fail, many of you will stumble, many of you will fall, but you'll grow. All of us, the resilience అనేది మనందరిలో ఓపిక ఉంటుంది అనమాట. కింద పడ్డ లేస్తుంది అవునా కదా, అందరిలో ఉంటుంది. యాక్చువల్లీ కొంతమందిలో కొంచెం ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది, కొంతమందిలో కొంచెం తక్కువ ఉంటుంది, అందరిలో ఉంటుంది. ఎప్పుడైతే when you are pushed to the wall, you react better. Right? మిమ్మల్ని ఎవరైనా తోసేస్తే మీరు ముందుకు వస్తారు, తోయకపోతే నడుస్తుంటారు, అవునా కదా, రైట్? సో మచ్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ you're getting here in terms of the government enabling a few things, in terms of the fee that you pay, in terms of the kind of quality of education that you have, in terms of the institution fighting to ensure that you get a great career and a great company to work for, you're still very, very lucky as compared to the larger population of the country. Right? Yesterday I was at Chipurpalli, which is very far away in Vijayanagara. Tribal children, they don't know anything. What class 1 into class 5 level, class 5 level, they'll become labor somewhere. That's a fact of India. It's not just about you. It's the fact of India. That and the fact is that we are still a long way to go before everyone gets a profession of their choice. Very few people get that, right? So understand that at this point in time, with all the question marks that you have of teacher baledu, or branch నాకు నచ్చలేదు, ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ నాకు నచ్చలేదు, ఈ కాలేజ్ నాకు నచ్చలేదు, ఈరోజు మెస్ లో ఫుడ్ బాగాలేదు, ఇవన్నీ కంప్లైంట్స్ ఉంటాయి, రైట్? But with all those things, you're still far better than what many others in this country are. Possibly you're in the top 10% of the country. That's the fact. Now, because I'm told you are all in year one, right? Many of you might have got into a branch not of your choice. Tell me how many of you got into a branch which is not of your first choice? Fantastic. And all of you are in core engineering. Am I right in saying that? Right? Am I right in saying that? Right. So obviously you preferred CSE or IT and you got into core engineering, right? That's what it is. There is no guarantee that 4 years from now, when you pass out, CS will be in more demand or core engineering will be in lesser demand. It might be just the other way around. Because across the system, if you notice, there are cycles. The current cycle is CS is being preferred. By the time you pass out, it might be that core engineering students are more needed and CS students is next in supply. And actually, I foresee this happening. ఎందుకంటే over the last 5-7 years, all engineering institutions started running to create more CSC students and CSC branches because there was greater demand for that. You will see that in the current 23 placement batch, the number of CS placements would come down. Not because the companies are not recruiting, but CS is meant to make life easier and smoother and faster, right? And more efficient. So the CS companies themselves become more efficient. That what could be done by 10 people, they can get it done by 5 people. They'll become more efficient. And the other part that will happen is that the number of people who resign from those companies will come down because there are not as many jobs as there were earlier. So one, there is retention, and resignation is tough for their companies now. రెండోది, the companies become more efficient. And three, the supply side is increased dramatically. So in my opinion, 4 years from now, the people who raise their hands of saying that I did not get the branch that I wanted, I actually feel happy because I personally think that core engineering is about to come back with a vengeance 5 years from now. Because the number of students who are passing out doing core engineering has come down dramatically. And the manufacturing companies will keep growing. So when you have that, there is an imbalance. Currently, you have an imbalance where there is more online or tech companies and lesser number of students, number of people who work. At some point in time, you actually have the number of students who want to work will keep increasing, whereas this will keep flatten out or decrease. And the reverse will happen for core engineering. Right? So understand one thing, that at this point in time, even though you took, some of you got a branch not to your liking, it is okay because you might be more preferred 4 years hence when you pass out than the other batch. And this is not to denigrate the CS branch, by the way. Don't think otherwise. The CS branch will also have its own take. But many of you, just because you got into CS, all of you think that now CS I'll get a job, I'll move on, my life is secure. That also is not true. Because when you get into a college with a branch of your choice, it is like you got a passport. A passport and a visa doesn't guarantee you a job, right? Similarly, for all of you, you got a branch of your choice and that's what it is. Unless you add skill sets to it, oh, there is a job, let's say in a good tech company, whatever it is, right? I won't take the name of the company, but let's assume there's a company, which is a tech company, right? And they want developers or people in DevOps or people in cybersecurity. There are 50 people from Rendi who will go, there are 50 people from Anil Nerukonda who will go, there are 50 people from Gayatri Vidyapan that will go there, right? Of this 150 people, how would they select the 10 people that they want to do? They obviously say how many of these 150 are more interested in cybersecurity, or more interested in DevOps, or more interested to be a developer. If all of you exactly learn the same thing, you are all on par, right? But if you have to add a skill, a 3-month certification on cloud computing, which is given free on Coursera or Udemy or whatever, right? Then what happens is you say, then BTech course yes, I know, and then I did a 3-month certification course on DevOps in this company. From the 150, you become the top 20. And not all these things cost money. Of course, they cost your time because you have to stop looking at Pawan Kalyan for inspiration and start looking at your own education for inspiration. Right? If you set away some part of your time, at least an hour a day, to learn beyond what is taught in the classroom, then you stand ahead of the queue. Otherwise, you are a part of the 150. So, one thing that you must understand is start understanding and creating a skill set which is beyond the curriculum that is taught at the classroom. Right. The other part of it is none of us at my age level, I'm sure Sir did not learn what he did to become a faculty and a principal. He would have had different interests of becoming a working in an industry and all. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm doing counseling. I'm supposed to be doing auditing and finance and investment banking, but I'm doing counseling at this point in time. If you ask all your parents also now what they're working for and what they've learned, they're not the same. And for you also, it will not be the same. What I mean to say is that over the next 4 years, understand what interests you and what doesn't interest you. Like, I'm sure you will say, "Maki class to bore vastundra, nidra vastundra maki class kelta." Avunga mi andarke ఏదో ఒక క్లాస్ తో బోర్ కొడుతుందా మీకు ఏదో ఒక ఫ్యాకల్టీ మీకు బోర్ కొట్టాలి కదా కొట్టాలి కదా రైట్ బట్ యు స్టిల్ అటెండ్ దట్ క్లాస్ కదా బికాజ్ ఇట్స్ అ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రాసెస్ over the next 4 years or over the next 2-3 years understand what you get bored of and what really excites you and interests you because that is a calling that is what you will lead yourself towards what interests you going to make then you will add a skill set to it then you grow in that because that interests you right if it doesn't interest you will be bored about it so over the next 4 years one of the things that you must learn is when you sit in the classroom, there are some classrooms that excite you, and there are some classes that, and I'm talking subject-wise. I'm not talking the person who's teaching. Let's keep keep the two things separate, right? You must start trying to understand what interests you, and when you do that, you will actually be able to pursue your interest in terms of finding a skill set and also thinking of a master's at some point in time. And ingot me cheppedi gurtunchukondi. Your education will not stop here. After BTech, you will work somewhere for 2-3 years, but you'll still do a master's. There is no way that you will be able to stop your education because emerging technologies every 5 years keep changing. I'm an investment banker, right? నేను ఎప్పుడైతే ఇన్వెస్ట్ బ్యాంకింగ్ చదువుతున్నానో అప్పుడు ఇప్పుడున్న కరెంట్ టెక్నాలజీస్ లేవు డెరివేటివ్స్ అంటారు ఇప్పుడు ఫ్యూచర్స్ అంటారు ఫార్వర్డ్స్ అంటారు నాకు అప్పుడు లేవు మాకు వీ నో హౌ టు బై షేర్ అండ్ సెల్ షేర్ బట్ నౌ ఇట్స్ కంప్లీట్లీ డిఫరెంట్ you buy futures, you buy options, you buy derivatives. When in terms of course in finance, you may not know about it, but those are not there those days, right? For you, because you're in technology space, whatever you learn today will become obsolete in 5 years' time. So you need to keep skilling yourself up, which means that your education will have to be a bit more consistent and constant, and not saying that now the BTech I did, now I am retired. in your head. It's not possible for you people. So understand that you will actually have to. The first thing I said is that don't worry about your core and non-core. Things will stabilize by the time you pass out. There will be more demand for core, and that will stabilize. The second thing is understand what interests you and what doesn't interest you. The third thing is add a skill set, add a skill as you keep moving along because then you'll be ahead of the queue. Nevertheless, you'll always be a part of the 150 200 number queue. And that is not the way you must lead your life, right? Now, most of us now, like as I said earlier, I'm an investment banker and now I'm a counselor. Majula and I also ran media company, right? Recently, when I was going to Chennai, I met a girl. She's from NIT. Then she joined a company called Infosys. But within 6 months, 1 year, she started getting bored of working at Infosys. Because other coding, other coding all of you want excitement in life, while you want to work, you also want excitement. How many of you will choose a job for money? Honestly, raise your hands. Right? Fantastic. How many of you will choose a job because it interests you? Same hands for కొంతమంది లేచారు కదా? Good. Okay. For the people who want to work for money only, I'll give you a job right now. Right? I'll give you 2 lakhs per month. Right? పొద్దునే నా దగ్గర రావాలి 10 లక్షలు తినాలి వెళ్ళిపోవాలి చేస్తారా 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 చేస్తా అయితే అందరూ చేసుకోండి ఆఫర్ life doesn't work that way. What I'm trying to say is that at some point in time, life, if you're not excited about working on something, you become a slave. And none of us want to become a slave. Today now, in your excitement, you're saying, yes, sir. Because I'll make your life miserable. You get the point what I'm saying. If a job doesn't interest you, you will stop working there. Over a period of time, people start working because they're passionate or it interests them. Or the other way of dealing with this, it doesn't bore them or it is not frustrating them. Right? And that is the truth. You say I'll do anything for money and trust me, it would not work that way. In which case now, so many resignations would not happen. No? Infosys, there are 30% turnover every year. 20% turnover every year. 20% people who choose Infosys are resigning in the first year itself. But anyway, why are so many people resigning from their companies? They are resigning, right? They choose a company and they resign because they don't like it. Of course, some will go because there is more money somewhere else. There is nothing wrong in seeking money. డబ్బుల కోసం పనిచేయడం తప్పు లేదు ఎందుకంటే కొంతమందికి డబ్బుల అవసరం చాలా ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది and that's a fact. A lot of people, money is very important at that point in time, but over a period of time, money is not as important as their pride, their respect, their happiness. So understand what I'm saying, that you need to start understanding what is of interest to you so that you create a pathway for that. For example, with BTech chestaro, when you work on a coding company, you don't like it. So you will actually change your career when you do a master's by adding the skills. So you might do an MBA because you don't want to be in a coding job, you want to be a manager. It's a possibility. Or you want to get onto an academic institution and start, teaching. Right? So suddenly you say, I'll do a master's where I'll start becoming a teacher or a faculty or a professor because you like that space. Right? Or you might change it dramatically saying, I want to be a researcher. But that will happen at the master's level when you finish your BTech, work for 2 years, understand again, whether you like the job profile or not, and then jump onto something else. First, any job that comes your way, the bigger the name, the better the name. So Infosys is the best, Inkera was the next, and that's how the hierarchy is because in your mind, the companies are imprinted. మీకు బుర్రలో ప్రింట్ అయ్యింది ఇది మంచి కంపెనీ నెక్స్ట్ కంపెనీ నెక్స్ట్ కంపెనీ అనేసి. ఇన్ఫాక్ట్ yesterday I was a GMRIT in Rajam where Narayan Murthy garu వచ్చారు, right? He's an Infosys chairman. They called him and whatever it is, right? But I know for a fact, and the reason why I'm saying this girl who's from NIT joined Infosys, got bored, and came consulting me of how she can shift her career. Because she joined a company at one point in time. Later she realized that the job that the company is giving is of not interest to her. Like the same Infosys, if they give you a job that you don't like, within 6 months, 1 year, you'll go because it's chala bore for it. Right? So that is something that you must remember. Now moving forward, nowadays, age now, as I told you, that whatever you learn within 3, 4, 5 years will become obsolete because the technology will change. ఇప్పుడు ఈ రోజు బ్లాక్ చైన్ అన్నారు 3 years back బ్లాక్ చైన్ లేదు కదా, 5 years back AIML లేదు కదా. So all these things came because of which the earlier technologies are now redundant, right? In 3, 5 years from now, some other technology will come, right? And it will keep evolving. So whatever you learn today will become obsolete. So all of you will have a chance to learn that new technology and move on, which is an advantage that you have, and that you can always pursue. Including a person in core engineering, they want to say, I don't want to do mechanical, I don't want to be in a shop floor. You can shift by learning the new technology, because your foundation, which is given in the first 2.5 years, is broad understanding of mathematics and logic and those kind of things. Then tarvata you have CS and coding on the mind, right? But the broad foundation is the same. The first 1.5 2 years, the curriculum is typically the same. Then when there is a build-up that's happening, you add that 1.5 2 year build-up, it will all come back to normalcy, right? So understand that each of you have an opportunity to change your stream as and when you want. As and when you want, after you get into your first job. Till then, to pursue what you're doing at this point in time, there's a greater possibility that core engineering students will be more preferred in 4 years from now than the others, or it will stabilize, or core engineering will be in lot more demand than what it is today. I think that is a certainty, because increasing the number of core engineering students has come down, whereas the demand continues to be the normal. Right? Now, the other part that I would want to say is, while you are here, there is one very important thing that you must learn over the next 4 years, which is to develop your communication skills, or the skill to speak up, or the skill to stand up. Right? What I mean to say is, over the next 4 years, you will build a lot of friendships here, right? And the way you sad girls and boys separately, I understand that it is friendship this way or that way and not both ways, right? Am I right in saying that? They don't love custom kada, problem kada? Problem. No, but it's okay. What I mean to say is that over the next 4 years, develop strong friendships, because they will last your lifetime. నా దగ్గర నా ఫ్రెండ్ 30 years back కూడా నాకు ఫోన్ చేస్తే వచ్చేస్తాడు. And that's what you develop, because you're working for 4 years. Some of you are staying in a hostel. You wake up and see each other's face and those kind of things, right? So create a lot of friendships around this place, because this will last. UG batch of 4 years it will last your lifetime, right? And as a part of the process, also over the next 4 years, start learning to speak up and get noticed. What I mean to say is, for example, we can in first floor, let us talk the truth and tell me how many people are bored. The first hand that rose is a hand that I notice. Without that, you're a part of the crowd. మొదట ఒకటి చేయలేదు కదా, దాని తర్వాత అవుతాయి కదా, అవునా కదా? సో మొదట ఎత్తివాడిని నేను నోటీస్ చేస్తాను. మిగతా వాళ్ళంతా you're one of the 300 people. You understand what I'm saying? Understand, if your heart says this is the truth, you should be up there, and you must speak up and stand up, whatever it means. ఇది నిజం, నా బుర్రలో ఇది నిజం, సార్ అడిగారు నేను చెప్పాను. ఎందుకంటే the choice of becoming a part of the crowd is yours, as much as the choice to stand up and be the unique person, right? And unique people are noticed, and crowd is never noticed. Crowd is always called a crowd, right? And in this process, you must also communicate a lot. For example, if a teacher is asking a question, you should be able to stand up and respond. It's a learning for you, not because you're questioning the teacher or you're. It's not that you are trying to play up with the faculty. Adhikar. This is a playground where you're not just learning what is taught, but learning beyond what is taught, which is about talking your mind, standing up, speaking well, speaking in front of 50 people, making a presentation. You must use this as opportunities and grab them. Otherwise, again, what I said, you will be a part of the crowd. So understand that your skill sets, the soft skills అంటారు కదా, మాట్లాడాలి, ధైర్యంగా నించోవాలి, అందరి ముందర ధైర్యంగా మాట్లాడగలగాలి, ధైర్యంగా ప్రెజెంటేషన్ ఇవ్వగలగాలి, ధైర్యంగా క్వశ్చన్ చేసే ఎబిలిటీ ఉండాలి. ఇవన్నీ ఇప్పుడే నేర్చుకుంటారు మీరు. ఇప్పుడు నేర్చుకోకపోతే యూ విల్ ఆల్వేస్ బి ద బ్యాక్ బెంచర్. You will not be noticed at times. Unless you, of course, raise your hand and do it, which is what the last bench student did for me. Right? So understand that over the next 4 years, learn to speak, learn to stand out from the crowd, learn to be the differentiator in terms of saying this person is like this only. Like we call it a clubs unnaya chala. Clubs unnaya mi దగ్గర? Huh? ఏమైనా క్లబ్స్ ఉన్నాయి మీ దగ్గర? ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ క్లబ్ లాంటివి ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా మీ దగ్గర? ఆయన ఉన్నాయంటే మీరు లేవంటారు. ఎవరు అవుతారు చెప్తారు? ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ బ్యాచ్. సో మీ దగ్గర క్లబ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, రైట్? ఉంటాయి, ఇప్పుడు లేకపోతే ఉంటాయి. యూ మస్ట్ బీ అ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద క్లబ్. ఇట్ కెన్ బి ఎన్వైరన్మెంటల్ క్లబ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. మీరు అనుకోవచ్చు మొక్కలు నాటే క్లబ్ రా అంటారు, అవునా కదా? బట్ ఇట్స్ ఆల్సో an important thing that over a 4-year time, if you were to plant 100 trees, which after 4 years become very big, those are your trees, right? So participate as actively as you can by grabbing the opportunities, because the opportunity money by rather, and you'll get noticed for that. At some point in an interview, if someone asks you, when they started, then I also planted these 100 trees in Jaipur, and that stands out. Anything that you can do, I've learned the following, but I also have done the following. I'm also a dramatic student. I've done dramatics. ఏదైనా యూనిక్ గా వేరేగా ఉండాలి. నాట్ జస్ట్ సేయింగ్ నా మార్క్స్ ఎంత ఉంది, నా సిజిపిఏ ఎంత ఉంది, నేను నేర్చుకున్నాను. దట్స్ ఎ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ కరికులం. దట్స్ ఎనీవే సపోజ్ టు బి దేర్. What else can you add to your resume over the next 4 years, which is beyond what you're supposed to be doing anyways? I'll give you another example, right? If you're going from here to Vizag, there'll be a lot of signals, right? Under constables, they'll be managing the traffic. మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా కానిస్టేబుల్ మొహం చూసారా? ట్రాఫిక్ మెయింటైన్ చేసే కానిస్టేబుల్ ట్రాఫిక్ మొహం గుర్తుంది ఎవరికైనా? ఒక్క మనిషి ఎంతో ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ గా హీ విల్ రెగ్యులేట్ ఇట్ వెల్. హీ విల్ ఆల్సో బి మేబీ ఒక ఓల్డ్ సిటిజన్ ఉంటే హీ విల్ మేక్ ద సిటిజన్ క్రాస్ ఓవర్ ద రోడ్. వాళ్ళని మీరు నోటీస్ చేస్తారు కదా? ఎందుకు నోటీస్ చేస్తారు వాళ్ళని? బికాస్ ద పర్సన్ ఈస్ డూయింగ్ థింగ్స్ బియాండ్ హిస్ కాల్ ఆఫ్ డ్యూటీ. హిస్ కాల్ ఆఫ్ డ్యూటీ ఇస్ టు మెయింటైన్ ట్రాఫిక్. His humanity is that if there's a senior citizen who's stuck on the other side, he'll stop the traffic, make the person cross over to the other road. You'll notice that if you're there. Notice this, brother? No, that's what you must be. You must be noticed for things beyond what you're supposed to be learning. You get my point? And over a period of time, it will become a part of the process in the college also, where faculty says, "Acha, mano ee workshop పెట్టాలి, ఇతన్ని పిలుద్దాం, because he will organize it well." అవును, వచ్చేస్తుంది, ఆటోమేటిక్ గా వచ్చేస్తుంది. అచ్చా, ఇక్కడ మొక్కలు నాటాలి, he is very passionate about environment, so let us call him and ensure that plantation drive is done by him. If a drama cheyali, this person is good, let's call him. Right? It can be anything. It can be anything. But grab an opportunity, because only a college gives you that space. The college has multiple things. It can be a library. Like, for example, how many people actually go to a library and study? Seriously? Now, how many people go to YouTube to watch Big Boss? ఎంతమంది అబద్ధాలు చెప్తారంటే ఇప్పుడు అవునా కదా? The thing is this, that how are you being slightly more unique than the others? How are you being different from the others and doing the right things, the good things? ఎందుకంటే the world has turned around. My generation, being unique was an exception, but it should be a normal. For example, again, I'll take another example. On the street now, there is a young boy who's slapping an old woman. అది తప్ప తప్పు కదా? And a lot of you watch it, right? There is one person who goes and stops it. There is one person who goes and stops it, right? You notice the person who's stopping it. నెక్స్ట్ డే సాక్షిలోనూ ఈనాడులో పడుతుంది, ఒక యువకుడు ఒక ఆడ ఒక సీనియర్ సిటిజన్ కూర్చుంటే ఆపేయడం అనేసి ఒక హీరోయిక్ ఆర్టికల్ పడచ్చు కదా? దట్స్ ఎ పాసిబిలిటీ. నో, isn't it supposed to be normal that when a senior citizen is being slapped by a young guy, all of you must stop and pause the whole thing? It should be normal, kada? In the usual behavior, it should be normal. Why did it become heroic? When did it become heroic? It's not supposed to be heroic. It should be normal behavior that when a senior citizen is being slapped by a young boy, it must be stopped. It should be normal behavior. Now, stopping that is becoming a heroic behavior because what is supposed to be normal, we made it heroic and abnormal. Your generation is supposed to make that normal. తప్పైతే నించు చెప్పాలి. ఎవరైనా తప్పు చేస్తుంటే ఆగాలి. ఏమవుతుంది? 2 లెక్కలు పడతాయి. Someone will hit you hard. But you will get noticed for standing up for the right thing. A lot of people will feel double he stood for what is right. And you need to grab those kind of things. If your fellow student is being unfairly bullied, you are ragging on the people, right? If your fellow student is unfairly being bullied, bullies ఉంటారు కదా, ప్రతి కాలేజీలో bullies ఉంటారు. మీ కాలేజీలో కూడా ఎంతమంది bullies ఇక్కడ? ఎవరు అని మంచి అబద్ధం, right? All of you, when you try to show off your muscle, right? చూపిస్తారు కదా మసలు, పొద్దునే హాఫ్ స్లీవ్ టీ షర్ట్ వేసుకుని కండలు చూపెట్టుకుంటూ వస్తారు కదా కొంతమంది. వస్తారా? Right? Now those things, now he can show off his muscles to anyone, but if he uses the muscle on someone else, then you must stand up to it. Right? Now, it is important for you to speak, use the opportunities, and also stand up for what is right. See, this 4 years is not about just learning. What I'm trying to tell you is, this is not about 4 years of how much you learn in a classroom, but how you behave and how you groom yourself for the next 4 years to become a better person. And this institution gives you that space. So understand what I'm trying to say, that it is not just about what happens in the classroom, but what happens outside the classroom. Now, one of the things that you guys did was, 10th, 11th, 12th, you were in COVID time, so classroom ka lalagnaru. Entamandi you passed class 12th after going to the classroom? Okay, let's turn the question around. How many of you people never saw the class 11th classroom at all? అంటే క్లాస్ 11th లో క్లాస్ రూమ్కి వెళ్ళనే లేదు. అంటే మిగతా అంతా క్లాస్కి వెళ్ళారా మీరంతా? సో ద క్లాసెస్ వర్ వర్కింగ్. అండ్ క్లాస్ 12th వెళ్ళారా? క్లాస్ వెళ్ళారా? వెరీ గుడ్. బికాస్ మోస్ట్ స్టేట్స్ now the classes were online rather. So there was no classroom. Right? So the generation got used to not working from the online thing and taking the examination and getting passed. So there was not much hard work to get a desired outcome, which is a percentile, or whatever it is, right? Now, that is a challenge that you must overcome. Because over a period of time, trust me, that things will go back to the classroom, things will go back to the shop floor, and you need to deal with that, right? So, one of the things that you must remember is that things will not be as easy as they were yesterday. Minute ago, everything was normal at day. Increasingly, it will become tougher because there's greater competition and greater number of people who are joining the workforce, greater number of people who want to get a job, and the jobs may be not as many as they were earlier. Let's assume for a moment. At least in tech, I see 5 years hence, that might be a question mark, right? So core engineering will be in demand, but you must understand that you must put in your effort. The way you got your pass marks and grades and all in COVID times will not be the same way from here on. You need to study, you need to pass, you need to get a score, and then you will again go to the next level. It will not be as easy as it was earlier, right? And lastly, as I said, when you deal with life, you must deal with a lot of compassion because then again and again I'm saying certain things which are beyond the classroom. The thing about you're privileged, you are fortunate, but when you look at someone else, you might say, I'm less fortunate. Right? It happens, right? There is someone above me, and I say, I wish I was like him. But there are many people below me who I look at them and say, I've come here so far, right? So it's important for you to become a better human being and a better person and a more skilled person, a more hardworking person while enjoying the space, while learning in the classroom. That is very important, right? If you don't do all these things at the same time, and they don't require a lot of effort, understand? For example, how many people uh, do a morning jog? ఎవరైనా చేస్తారు ఇక్కడ మ్యారథాన్స్ జాగ్స్ ఏమైనా చేస్తారా లేకపోతే జిమ్ వెళ్తారా ఎంతమంది జిమ్ వెళ్తారు ఇక్కడ ఇద్దరు ముగ్గురు రైట్ మీరు జిమ్కి వెళ్తే యూ స్వెట్ ఇట్ అవుట్ రైట్ యూ స్వెట్ ఇట్ అవుట్ యూ టేక్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ వెయిట్స్ why do you do that? You're కష్టంగా అనిపిస్తుంది నీకు when you're doing it you're enjoying it though you're lifting weights and you're sweating it out, right? And you're gasping for breath, but you still do that, right? You do that because you enjoy it and you are waiting for the final outcome, which is that I'll become a fitter person, right? So even though someone else who's running on the streets when they don't want to run will say ఇంత నడిపిస్తున్నారు అంటారు మీరు జిమ్ ట్రెడ్మిల్ 20 నిమిషాలు నడుస్తారు మీ పక్కనే అవుట్ 20 minutes వాక్ రా అంత దూరం రా అంటాడు both are walks, one on the treadmill, one otherwise, because the other person is not interested in the walk but he's being forced to walk, whereas you're interested in the walk that you're working on the gym, right? Like I walk to the office, I enjoy that walk because that's my 15 minutes of private time and I also get my physical fitness, right? So a person who's running on the streets, right, one might be a marathoner, marathon level jogging చేసేవాడు ఇంకోటేమో he's running towards his work. Both are running, but one is very unhappy, one is very happy. If you think about it, that's what it is all about. If something interests you, don't mind sweating it out. You don't mind taking a lot of weight on your shoulders because you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, then everything is a burden on you. And that's what this life is all going to be. That you need to start learning to enjoy what you do. For that, you need to understand what is the skill set that you like. What is the kind of job profile that you like? What is the kind of environment you like? You will decide that over the next 4 years. At the end of 4 years, if you still don't like it, at a master's level, you can change the branch or a stream. Because you suddenly don't like what you like. For example, my son, he's a very young boy. Initially, he realized that only the security guard can stop me. And I can call in the office. The security guard is the first one who will try to stop you and then ask for a license number and then he allows. He felt that the security guard is the most powerful person in the country because he can stop his dad. He wanted to be a security guard. He's a kid. He understands that. Later he realized that the security guard is not the most powerful person, my dad. So he wants to be like me. Repodana he'll see someone else who's my boss or who's dictating me and he wants to be like him. There is no Nothing wrong about any of these three phases that he's going through. He will decide his pathway as he goes. Like, my younger son tells me that I would never want to be an entrepreneur because I see you struggling and being sleepless. He doesn't want to be like me, younger son. My elder son comes and tells me, Daddy, not my company, I feel like then Australia is upset over that. Because they see this slogging myself out. Right? At some point in time, they'll also find that this is better than that one. All those phases will happen. But the important thing is, my elder son and my younger son both now know what is the skill or what is the kind of profile of job that they enjoy. My elder son says, I want to be a product manager because I like product. So he creates tech products. My younger son is a painter, he paints and he paints wonderfully well. And recently he's in class 10, he's made a calendar, he's sold 2,000 calendars at 250 rupees a piece. Because he's drawn wonderfully well. People really bought it because the young boy is doing it. Right? Now, anything can, both are true, but both have decided the pathways of what interests them. And that is what you must be doing over the next 4 years. Of what is it that you like, what is it that you dislike. What you dislike, you'll never go towards it. You'll learn in the process, but you know that that's not your future. And what you like, you know that, okay, this is what I like, I want to add a skill set to this to make it worth more of it, right? And that is what you must be doing, right? Any questions you have in that, by the way? I'll be more than happy to take questions first. Yeah. Yeah, carry on.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
I am Mahesh from CSIT department. First of all, we are honored to have you today. My question is, in the other countries, the people at the age of 18 or below 18 years old, they at least know about the investment. But in our country, the investment rate and the concept of investment is less than compared to the other countries. So how could we develop this?
I don't know where you got the data, Mahesh. Nagar Mahesh, no Mahesh. Right. The thing is, the savings rate of India is the highest, 26% savings rate. Now, by the time the savings becomes an investment, you go through a banking system. All our parents they trust a bank more than a stock market or something else, right? So you go through the stock market, the banking route to invest, and the banks are lending that money for investment. So it's a slightly, a question which is very tricky for me because the savings rate is higher, the loan rate is higher. There are very few. The simple thing is this: it's like this. I tell my mother that the reason why I'm working hard today is because my grandfather did not invest well. Because think of it, a grandfather passed on a piece of land and a grandfather passed on a fixed deposit. The land obviously grew 100 times, the fixed deposit grew 6, 7, 8 times over the last 20 years, right? So there is a lot of risk aversion in our parts of the world. They don't take risk with their money. And that is natural because there is a lot of unlawful ways of acquiring properties and all. So people, my grandfather was saying land so he would not buy land, he gave me a fixed deposit of 80 crore rupees. So if you're talking about the risk appetite of Indians is much lower, but now it's growing. A lot of you, I'm sure, how many of you want to start your own small enterprise at some point? Right? It's about 10% of the class, right? Which 10 years back would be 1-2%. You need to judge everything in phases of 10 years, not next year, last year. To take it over a 10-year gap now, the entrepreneurial spirit of this country is growing dramatically. And I do think that over a period of time, there will be more entrepreneurs who will create more jobs. So some of you will create jobs, some of you will be employees in those. Right? So the choice of whether you want to be an employee or an employer is your call. Right? Thanks. Any other question? There is one behind. Okay. Any other question? There is one person here. Okay. Whenever.
Sir, what made you to start the career like 360 company. What is your inspiration?
Okay, Pujo. The parent.
Leela Prasad. Leela Prasad from ECD.
Leela Prasad. See, again, a lot of people ask, when you start something of your own now, there are two reasons why you start. One is there is a lot of money there because it's more viable, more profitable, so you start. And some people started because you think that you can actually, there is something that hurts you and you want to solve the problem so that no one else goes through that problem. Right? For me, it's the later. For me, like when I left Outlook in 90, I left Outlook in 2012. Right? I was CEO of Outlook, 800 people working. My salary was 2.5 crore rupees per annum. 2009 to 2012. Right? I love that company. The thing is, the reason why it happens is there are a few things that you want to change. Uh, you want to change so that no one else goes through the same problem that you went through. Like, when I passed out of graduation, I was not the best student. And forget about IIMs. First after class 12th, I didn't even appear for BTech because I was bad in math and I knew no college will give me admission. Right? Then I finished my graduation in BCom. And I knew IIMs will not touch me, so I did not even write CAT. So ఇక్కడ JEE రాయలేదు, ఎంసెట్ రాయలేదు, CAT రాయలేదు. ఉస్మానియా MBA రాశాను, వాళ్ళు కూడా నన్ను తీసి పడేశారు. The thing is, when you look at people on the other side, it is not that they were smarter that they got ahead of you. Of course, they were more hardworking, they had more resources, more support to understand exactly how to plan their career. They had a better chance in that. I did not have that chance. So I said, okay, if I think I'm smart, I should be able to hire IIMs and IITs, which I hire today, right? And I should be able to ensure that people who are rejected also have a great hope for becoming the bosses at some point in time. So, which is what Career 60 is all about. Careers for me is, of course, it's a commercial enterprise. Of course, I want to make a lot of profits and a lot of money and all, but nothing at the cost of a student. I will never ever give a wrong information on the platform. In the platform, every day, 15 lakh students come on the platform. 15 lakh, every single day. Right? And the reason why they come is because they know that correct information. 400 people work in the company, which means I'm an employer from being an employee, right? And most importantly, I ensure that 1.5 million students are better informed than what they were yesterday. Because what happens is, education of college choices are based on perception. E college manchidra, e college manchidra, and the it's not necessarily true. The data might say otherwise. How many students think, like, let's talk of a number. IIT's placement and IIT Delhi placement around in Japan. 100%? Adhe naku pura 100% entamandi antaru? 23% of IIT Delhi students are not placed. 23%. Across the board, if you take a top 10 IITs, about 27% students are not placed. They don't get a job. And I'm talking of those students who registered for placement and not placed. If I take a total number of students there, it will be about 30-35%. The perception that you get into IIT, you get a job is wrong. The data doesn't support that kind of a conclusion. So what I tell the student is, listen, if you're, and by the way, anyone who got into IIT should be the top 2% students of the country because they got 20,000 rank and below. So here we are talking of the top 2% of the students of the country and about 1/3 of them not getting placed or a quarter of them not getting placed. That is unfair. If they joined any other college, they would have been the topper of the class and would have got the best offer that is coming to the campus. But what they did, they chose to have the IIT tag, then acquire the skill set that gets them justice. They wanted to study in IIT, then get out anything. సో ఐఐటీలో ఓషనోగ్రఫీ వచ్చినా వాడికి ఓషనోగ్రఫీ గురించి ఏంటో అర్థం కాదు, బట్ యూ గో అండ్ స్టడీ బికాస్ మా పిల్లడు ఐఐటీ ఢిల్లీలో చదువుతున్నాడు. Who are the people who are not placed in IT Delhi? People who do textile engineering. Why did you choose textile engineering? Because IT Delhi is other branch. There is no interest. There is no skill that they wanted to acquire as a primary objective. All they did was because the parents said it, because they want to study in IIT Delhi and call themselves IIT Delhi alumni, they got into IIT Delhi and did textile engineering. That is the problem. So for me, it's about how do I create data sets to tell the student what is the right path for them. And most of the times, remove the perception bias that they have of saying this is how it works or this is what is a good thing. So for me, career selection is a work of passion to help every student in the country decide what is the right college, what is the right course, what is the right pathway, and how to get the best outcome that is possible. That's my objective. Any other question?
Sir, I'm Akshay of ECA. What if you fail? And ఎప్పుడైనా క్వశ్చన్ చేస్తున్నారు సార్, అంటే జాబ్ వదిలేసి చేశాను కదా, వాట్ ఇఫ్ యూ ఫెయిల్?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's a brilliant question. Good Akshay. See, these days now, an entrepreneur who fails is more in demand than the topper of IIT. Remember this. An entrepreneur who fails after having tried out something, after giving his all or her all, and fails, is more in demand than the topper of IIT Delhi CS branch. Which means top 10 rank. Why can't we demand noted? Endukante this person has seen life. He's understood businesses. He's understood how to create a business. He's understood how the dynamics of the business of revenue versus cost, technology versus product, marketing versus technology. He knows that entire conundrum, right? So they are more in demand. At any point in time today, if I want to step out and say I'm open for a job, trust me that I'll have 20 people chasing me out saying, can you please join us? And I have that every single time. So never be scared of failure. Because when you're scared of failure, like for example, when you started Akshay, and let's be honest about it, was Lendy College your best option? It was not, right? You had some other option before Lendy. Which means the fact that you did not get into that college is a failure. But I don't consider that a failure. You had option where Lendy would be 6th or 7th in the hierarchy. But you got into Lendy, right? Which means the fact that you did not get into the first 5 options, someone will call it a failure. Someone will call it, he's got this and he'll make a life out of it. You know, when I started doing BCom, my auntie was in every aunt, every neighbor has an auntie who is out to pull you down. Right? And then auntie came and told my mother, get a doctor auntie, Nagarjuna Sagar. But Nagarjuna was the best college then. It's a different matter altogether. From now on in your life now, you will fail 100 times. If you define failure as something where you did not get what you wanted, then everything is a failure. Right? You put it at failure. A lot of you will be sitting here thinking, but the fact that you do not have your own wish of walking out of this, right? The thing is, none of you will get every time, every single thing that you want it the way you want it. It's not going to happen. And entrepreneurs are always in the greatest demand before any IIM, any IIT, anyone will come in. Anywhere. Around the globe, you see, you show me an entrepreneur who wants to be employed but is not employed. Not a single person. You will have IIMs who are looking for jobs, but you will not have entrepreneurs who are close their enterprise and are looking for jobs. They'll first be grabbed. That's a fact. Any other question? అమ్మాయిలు ఎవరైనా అడగండి అమ్మ తల్లి. Any girls? Are you going to? అమ్మాయి ఉంది అక్కడ మధ్యలో.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, what is the greatest quality that an entrepreneur can inherit?
What's your name?
Akshaya, sir.
Akshaya. కూర్చోమ్మా. See, an entrepreneur, నేను అప్పుడు రాస్తుంటాను, entrepreneur is a very lonely person. ఎందుకంటే he is right on the top. The more you are on the top, you are lonely because there is no one below you. When everyone is below you, there is no one on par with you, right? The thing of an entrepreneur is resilience. ఏంటంటే మీరు రాకీ మూవీ చూసారా? సిల్వర్ స్టార్ ఒక రాకీ అనే మూవీ ఉంటుంది సిరీస్. మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా చూడండి, దానిలో ఒక డైలాగ్ ఉంటుంది, దాని ఇప్పుడు లేదు, బట్ ఐ షో యూ అట్ సమ్ పాయింట్ టైం. హోప్ఫుల్లీ ఐ రీడ్ ఇట్ సమ్ పాయింట్ టైం. The ability to stand up after taking repeated punches. The ability to, get up and say, I'll still walk my walk, even after being hit below the belt. And that in English terms is called resilience, right? And the stamina to stand up and say everything's okay. Everything will be okay. Today is bad, tomorrow will be better. Understanding that whatever happens tomorrow, the sun will still rise. It will not stop rising. And that mind is not just for entrepreneurs, it's for all of you. You will have very bad days at times. You will have worse days at times, right? But if you understand that still the sun will rise tomorrow morning and you will watch the sun rise, things will be normal. You understand this, we're going to live about 30,000 days. 30,000 days. One day, 1 hour, 2 hours are bad hours. You don't judge life based on that, right? An entrepreneur has that ability. He has an ability. It's not about how intelligent he is. It's not about how smart he is. It's not about how he's well connected. It's nothing about that. It's about understanding that I'll take punches, but I'll still know how to stand up and still go through the walk. And that's important. And not just for entrepreneurs, it's important for all of you also. Anything else?
Girls, try to ask something related to your doubts. What you understood.
Last question. ఏమన్నా ఇంకా?
Girls here.
ఏమన్నా ఒక్క నిమిషం సార్, చెప్పమ్మా.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, from which person you got inspired?
Again, never. కూర్చో. నీ పేరేంటి?
Jahnavi, sir.
Jahnavi. Trust me when I say this. Never ever idolize a person. You have God and you have human beings. Every human being has his own feelings. నేను ఇంత ప్రీచ్ చేసిన, ఇంత ఫిలాసఫీ చేస్తున్నా, నాకు తప్పులు లేవా? చాలా ఉన్నాయి. Now, if you were to tell me that I idolize you, then are you also adopting all the bad qualities that I have? No, right? So why do you idolize? So never create someone as an idol saying, this is the idol that I want to be like. Never. I see that mostly in the south parts of India where you idolize movie actors or you idolize one entrepreneur and all. See, all these people are good people, great people, but they're human beings to begin with. They have their own fallacies. They have their own feelings. They have their own biases. So never get into that. Having said that, if anyone asks me who's my inspiration, my mother is a very sacrificing person for me. So I will first idolize her. The other person I idolize is Mahatma Gandhi. I'll tell you why I do that. Not because he fought for freedom and got us freedom. He led by example. There is no person on earth who is, was, and will be as powerful as Mahatma Gandhi, but has lived a very minimalistic life with just a loin cloth. You will not find anyone. You will not find a person who's not built a beautiful home for themselves, being as powerful as they are. He was. You will not find a person who will not move with 100 people security cordon and still courageously walk. He died because he never had a security cordon. Otherwise, he would have been saved. But he never believed in that. He never used his power to benefit himself. And he lived a minimalistic life because he believed that most Indians cannot afford a good life. No, that. See, anyone, so any of these actions that you see, when you see some person's action, I would like something from Mahatma Gandhi, something of her mother, something of someone else. It can be those kind of things, but not one single person. No. But between these two people, I think I completed 90% of what I would want. So I think what I'll do is now I'll end it with one small thing that I normally read for all students when I end my speech. 2 minutes, bear with me. Right. And this is important for all of you. This was actually a commencement speech that was given by a US Supreme Court Justice, John Roberts, to all the students who were entering the class at that point in time. And I normally read that because I think it uh, captures everything that I would want to tell you, right? And this is what he said to the students out there. Now, the commencement speakers will typically also wish you good luck and extend good wishes to you. I will not do that, and I'll tell you why. From time to time in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly so that you will come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time so that you don't take friends for granted. I wish you bad luck again from time to time so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life and understand that your success is not completely deserved and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. And when you lose, as you will from time to time, I hope every now and then your opponent will gloat over your favor. It is a way for you to understand the importance of sportsmanship. I hope you will be ignored so you know the importance of listening to others. And I hope you will have just
data of career 360 at that time. Raju's wonderful effort and he gave one ranking to us. Sir, because of that ranking, few companies only they are looking into NIS ranking or only this career 360. There are so many rankings are there in India. College Dunia, Outlook, so many rankings, but they are only considering either NRF ranking or career 360. So, such a wonderful, I think it is a wonderful platform for students and for the colleges also. So today we are having triple A plus ranking, and sir, really I am telling sir from the bottom of my heart, I placed more than 2,000 students because of the ranking, sir. From 2019, that is only because of career degree. I want to this MOU with XRA and some other companies, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
See, earlier someone asked me what is the inspiration about, right? Our ranking is used by a lot of recruitment companies, and in fact, they speak to us, like Accenture, many of these companies, they do a private ranking for themselves through us. So the data that we have, they believe in that. Like Google, Google, the knowledge panel is all powered by career history. So when you search for JEE or any college, in the source career history also. That's because this information or data is going from us. Why do they do it with us? Because they believe that I would not tell them a lie. Right? That's very important. I never lied. I make mistakes. I have genuine mistakes. But either abadam tells in abadam japa. Because of which people trust you. So the important thing here is not about whether the rank benefited someone or not. When you stop telling a lie, then people trust you. When people trust you with more importance, more work, more power, and they empower you more. And that's a learning that I've had all through my life. That stop lying and you'll keep growing. The day you lie. One last thing, so would you mind actually?
It is a pleasure, sir, actually.
Some of you can join. No, I'll go. We can just.
Sir, it is our token of love towards you for your presence. So it's having a selfie time now. Let's have the pleasure moment. Enjoy the pleasure moment right now. So are you all ready for it? Thank you so much, sir. It is all our pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you all the HODs and dignitaries, sir.